And we will get started. For those of you who have joined us, thank you. We will get started in just a couple minutes, 2 minutes. I appreciate your time and I appreciate the panelists who have joined. So I will definitely not be waiting too long to get going tonight. And for those of you who are joining, thank you again, parents and guardians and family members, community members. If you were not able to attend the school committee meeting, either in person or virtually last week, we had the opportunity, Dr. Eggman and myself, to present just our work with the AI task force. And so this community forum is kind of give you an overview of that, but also we wanted to bring in some of our staff members who participated on the task force, as well as one of our parents from the LG Norse. So with that, I think we will get started. It is 6:31. So with that, welcome. My name is Karen Winsper. I am the Director of Instructional Technology for the Norton Public Schools. And I was joking with Dr. O'Neill today that I've been in the district for 12 years. This is, finishing my 12th year. And back when I started, we were more concerned with, kind of thinking about just the devices that we did not have in the district. We had 6 and 8-year-old desktop computers. And so the transition from that to 12 years to now talking about AI and a task force is quite remarkable. So I will let our guests, panelists, introduce themselves. Mr. Hayward.
I'm Principal Hayward. I'm the principal at Norton Middle School. Karen and I started on the same day. So we've seen the whole thing and enjoyed my time in Norton. And we've had all sorts of things we've rolled out. And this is the next one. And it's exciting. And glad to be a part of the panel.
Dr. Ackerman.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brian Ackerman. I'm the Assistant Superintendent for Teaching and Learning in the Norton Public Schools. This is my 3rd year in Norton, and this work has been, I think, a really important and valuable learning experience for all of us. And I am thankful that for all of you that have chosen to spend some time with us to learn a little bit more about our direction.
Kim.
Hi, my name is Kim Zajac. I'm the speech and language pathologist at Norton Middle School, and this is my 13th year in the district. It's been a pleasure to watch the district grow and expand in the ways that technology has been able to complement teaching and learning.
Stephanie.
Hi, everyone. I'm Stephanie Lerner. I'm a reading specialist at the Norton Middle School. And gosh, I think I'm about 12 years at the middle school as well, part-time and now full-time. But I'm a parent of a 26-year-old who graduated from Norton Public Schools, who's in his post-grad years. So I have a lot of experience and time with Norton Public Schools. And I just spent this year really educating myself about AI. It was all brand new to me. So really building my AI literacy this year so that I can share more with students and staff.
Thank you. And Aisha.
Hi, my name is Aisha Ashar, and I'm the parent of 2 elementary students, one in LG first grade and the other in pre-K in JCS, in the Lancers. And this is also our 3rd year in Norton. Being involved with the PTC at LG Norse just gave me a view of all the things that teachers have to go through to and their daily struggles. So I think this was a really eye-opening topic, talking about how AI has interfered with their teaching and, throughout this year and past year for the most part.
Thank you so much. And I do appreciate, again, everyone's time, whether you are an attendee viewing this session tonight or in the future, if you're viewing it recorded, and then our panelists as well. I do appreciate your time. So just as a quick overview, we'll talk about our work. We'll try to be brief. so that we have an opportunity to speak to just the experiences of the staff members who are here and the parent, and then have some time for those in attendance if there are any questions that hopefully we can try to answer or, look to get answers for you. Dr. Ackerman and I will kind of go back and forth with the presentation here. So we decided to kind of frame this with Dr. O'Neill's Lancer Way and what she has decided as kind of like the focus of the district. So looking at the acronym Lancer and thinking about how we want to envision our students leading and adapting, navigating, communicating, empowering, or reflecting, and all about how we as Norton believe AI may fit in with this. We know that this is nothing new, right? AI has been around for the last 3 or so years, generative AI, that is, really making waves for us. And we were taking a cautious approach simply because the state of Massachusetts Department of Education had not issued guidance prior to last summer. But we know at this time, we're getting messages from the national level where we've got some federal policies coming down, prioritizing AI. We also know that our state of Massachusetts has created this AI hub where they are, hoping that the communities and actually providing resources for any person living in the state can get free training through Google, but also Massachusetts DESE, Department of Education, has provided guidance, as I noted. So we were ready to kind of move forward and take steps to say, okay, we really need to kind of understand where Norton fits, where we prioritize teaching and learning first, but we can't ignore the fact that AI now is a part of our schools in the sense that we really need to embrace all things that our students are bringing to the table. And I know Kim will speak to this soon enough, this is not just something that our students perhaps in the future might be in tune to. This is something, for some students today. One of the things that we were talking about on the task force is, trying to be cautious because we know that our students, our families, and our teachers, it matters because teaching and learning are at the forefront of what we do, right? We're an education institution. So what's very, very important is that the human judgment remains at the center. Okay. So we want to be sure that academic integrity, that our kids want to learn and want to do their very best, and whether that's, utilizing technology or not. One of the things that we want to be sure is that our staff are prepared to utilize AI in whatever capacity the district chooses to move forward with. We also are very concerned with data privacy in Norton, and certainly we want to be clear that student personal identifying information, staff information, these are kind of non-negotiables, things that we do not want to share with just random vendors. So one thing that, if you're not aware, we do have in place with all tech software that we use in the district is data privacy agreements. And what that allows us is to hold vendors accountable if they were to, use data or marketing to students under age 13. So, we would not allow any tool to be used without a signed DPA in place. And so, thinking back to the work of the task force and thinking about, we want this to be human centered, we want to, sharpen the skills of our educators because, again, we're a teaching and learning institution. That is our primary goal. So we want our staff to feel confident and comfortable. So we focused on really staff readiness. And that was the task force that decided that. They felt like we wanted to focus on staff throughout the year. And so we did provide some training and opportunities for a variety, whether it be virtually or in person trainings for staff. Because both students and teachers were saying, we need some guidance here. This came out, and we did share this at the beginning of the year. We gave all students in middle school and high school a survey, and they noted, again, this was early on in the school year and early in the fall. They're looking for guidance. They're not saying we just want random AI use, to run rampant through the schools. What they're saying is please set expectations for us. Please teach us how to use it. Tell us how we can use it, if we can use it in schools. They truly want guidance. And also staff agreed. They wanted guidance. They wanted clear district level or school level guidance about what was acceptable and appropriate. Okay. And this was something that the task force took on. So with that, I don't know, Dr. Eggman, if you want to jump in here.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Karen. There are a couple of things that I think are really important in that when we started on this journey, we really had to be clear and intentional about use for staff and students. And if I could direct you, because the laws that Karen alluded to in the data privacy agreement are very different based upon age. We wanted to make sure that when we were talking about our younger students, that teachers, if at all, at Henry A. Yale, basically, if they saw it, it was under the direct guidance and exposure of a teacher. And then as we moved up to the middle school grades, if it was structured and directed by a teacher, certainly some exposure was necessary. But again, the teacher really needed to become and be the leader, which was a major part of the reason why in our work in these first steps, we really focused on teachers first. And then for the high school, particularly for students that were approaching college age and maybe had more familiarity with AI, this is work and part of what, in many cases, whether it's post-secondary, in college, or in the world of work, AI will be coming. So if we were very specific, intentional, and targeted about the tools and had some clear expectations and guardrails, some supervised use was allowed. And to underscore the point that Karen had made before about us being a teaching and learning institution, we really had to be certain that we were giving students direction on citation of work, because AI is not meant to replace human and student understanding. It is meant, if it is used at all, to almost be a check and a deepening of understanding, because first and foremost, this is very much a human-centered tool.
And if I could just interrupt for a second, this is for your typical student. This would not be for a student who would have at any point in their, if they had a 504 or an IEP, if they had any type of AI written into a plan, right? This is just for your typical student who would be in your average classroom. I just want to be clear on that. So again, excuse me, we started to create some guidance, and we created this AI hub, and we'll share that resource with you tonight, as well as this assignment scale. And this is something that you may see as a parent. In the fall, we're looking to launch this both at the middle school and high school level, where teachers may choose to offer opportunities for students to utilize AI for specific lessons. And I know Principal Hayward will probably speak to this, maybe not the fall, maybe January for the middle school, but certainly it will be something that will have a rollout over the course of the next school year. This is where you can find the AI hub. And actually, there's just some screenshots here about the red, orange, yellow, and green, kind of the stoplight scale. And then again, if you went onto the district website, you would go to technology, and then you can access it through the NPS Artificial Intelligence Hub there. This is a closer look at the assignment scale, and just from the level 1, which would be no AI would be allowed on an assignment, through level 4, which would be full AI. Again, this was part of the task force as well as part of our work since January. We've been partnering with UMass Lowell and Massachusetts Computer Using Educator Group to be a part of a first cohort, getting support around AI and AI use, one of 15 districts in the state. So this is something that other districts are using throughout the country, and we've kind of modified it for Norton. Brian?
Thanks, Karen. So based upon our survey data, and also based upon the fact that we knew students had some familiarity with AI, and that teachers would kind of be that intermediate between student and teacher, but then also family and teacher, we felt that teachers really had to be the first priority in our initial step. So for all of our 6 to 12 educators, we had a professional development session that was hosted talking about exactly that, how to build capacity. And that was offered over the winter of this year. We definitely will continue this work as we go forward. And for our elementary educators, we had 2 offerings as well. And those were done virtually through the AI modules that are on the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education's website. As a collective, we felt it was really important to offer all of our teachers a first opportunity to develop a common understanding and to start developing a common language. Because as we know from our conversations with people in our networks, if you talk to different people, you'll get very different definitions and interpretations of AI. So we really wanted to be upfront and forward and start building that shared understanding. And
Go ahead.
And then for next year, we really have 4 goals, and it really is about making sure that we continue to build staff knowledge and expertise. We also want to be very clear and intentional, as Karen said before, that privacy is paramount for us. Student data is paramount for us. We need to make sure that however we proceed, that student safety is always at the top of the list. And as we go through that, we're going to continue to build that staff consistency, and then also provide real clear feedback to staff, because AI is not perfect. No learning tool is, but about how to identify bias or hallucinations and making sure that students are going to eventually be able to learn how it supports AI supports learning and how it does not.
So with this, I'm going to stop sharing my screen because what I'd like to do is hear from our panelists before we start taking questions. So for those of you in attendance, if you could, if you think of a question, if something comes up, please, you should be able to write it in the question area, and we'll take those as they either come in. I'll monitor them, or we'll take them at the end. But what I would propose or ask of the panelists, if there is something that you could share, either something that you have done this year in your building or in your role, or experienced just with AI with your students. I would love for you to share that with our audience. How is AI impacting what you're seeing? Principal Hayward, do you want to start?
Sure, I can start. So I use AI, and to be honest with you, after kind of going through the year where I've actually used it myself for my tasks, for the things that I have to do, I actually find I've spent more time with human beings because I've offloaded some of the stuff. I've been able to make some of the work that I do quicker. And so, in an odd way, AI this year has allowed me more time with students, more time interacting with staff, more time being able to do direct classroom observations, formal and informal. So, and that was just simply because I've been able to use it to kind of help me with a lot of the tasks that I have to do that often kept me tied. And the quality of work isn't, it's probably better, to be honest with you, but it's definitely not worse. So hopefully, eventually, as we get through this process, we can find a way where this actually gives us more time to do the soft skills, the human interaction, talking about the work. I'm excited about it. I know some of the work when we do this, it's almost like, how are we going to protect Norton schools from AI, this outside force coming into our schools? And I mean, it's all around us. It's going to be here. We didn't have this. I mean, there was a reaction to spell check and seeing the reg squiggly line. And if the kids, they're giving them the thing. And then there was the word prediction and those type of things, a lot of which started within special ed, that just became tools that everyone used. Things that I see for teachers, for some students, visuals are needed. For all, visuals are nice. And so they're nice to have. And these things took teachers a long time to create, difficult to edit, hard to distribute in a timely fashion, often coming a day after the lesson. And AI is really helping our teachers become better at their craft, which in turn will lead to better student outcomes. So that's kind of like the teacher side that I'm seeing. I'm excited how it might accelerate feedback loops. Oftentimes, our students get feedback, and because of the volume at the middle school anyway, the number of students each teacher has, it's very hard to have those feedback loops done quick enough that students can respond to the feedback. And so oftentimes it's like, well, here's the feedback, try on the next time we have an assessment or an assignment, as opposed to assisting the teacher to quickly do feedback to the students, not just data collection for us to formative to what am I going to do different tomorrow, but giving them feedback so they can think, what are they going to do different tomorrow? So I'm excited to see how it can do that. So for those reasons, I do want to embrace AI use definitely amongst the teachers. And I think as we start to use it on the teaching side, the prep side, the assessment side, the feedback side, I think we'll learn how to shift that over to the students in a responsible way where they can, their creation of work, so to speak. And then the expectations will be different. We'll probably raise expectations. Some other exciting stuff, I want to get more back to students doing presentations of their work, having to speak to what they presented, what they submitted, what they created, and being able to talk and field questions. 10 years from now, everyone will have the answer. They'll just ask and they will have it. It's about being able to ask questions, anticipate on the spot stuff. So I'm excited. It's hard. One of the things, our entire math program at the middle school, one of the things is productive struggle. One of the things with AI that comes up frequently is that the struggle is important, and AI is removing the struggle. So I do want to, find a way to still have that struggle where kids grapple with stuff, and it's not that easy and fluid. But I also want to, have higher expectations on the work that's passed in. And I think starting, as Karen alluded, I'm kind of pushing like, hey, maybe January would be good because I would love that next half a year and the work that our leadership team will do in the summertime to kind of really give teachers, um, fall to really adapt before we might shift to where the age group above us is. So that's just been kind of some of the stuff I do. I have a lot of early adopters, so to speak, that get out there. Kim and Steph are two of them, and I have a few other really excellent people that are doing some fine work with AI.
So that was a nice segue, Principal Hayward. Kim or Steph, would either of you like to share?
Sure. I can say a little bit right now. From my perspective as a speech and language pathologist and someone who's been doing some deep work with AI, both with this task force and the Massachusetts DESE AI task force, I've been able to see some examples of where other communities have been doing some work with AI and been able to learn from both their successes and things that maybe haven't gone as well. And one of the areas that shines brightly is the way that AI can be utilized to eliminate barriers, to really make the teaching and learning experience more accessible for all learners, and to really support teachers, to Mr. Hayward's point, in that process to make the workflow one that's more efficient, where more time is available to be spent face-to-face with students in that human-to-human interaction, which is so very important. And again, to point back to what Mr. Hayward was saying, it is about knowing the answers, but it's more about knowing how to talk about the answers together, bringing the human back into the loop. And it's really, when I think about the way AI can be utilized as an access tool, it's really about, designing for us, with us, just using AI as the tool in the moment. And so just thinking about how can we identify the tools that are safe, that we can utilize to create more rich, inclusive, accessible teaching and learning experiences for our students, while also supporting our teachers to be able to do so in a way that they've never been able to do before, including things like visuals in the moment and quickly, is so incredibly valuable for the student impact and the return on investment by both teacher and learner. So it's exciting to see what the possibilities may be that are ahead for us. We're just at the beginning of this journey here in the district, and I'm honored and pleased to be part of it and look forward to learning with everyone.
Thank you, Kim. Steph?
Sure. So I was very much a beginner at the beginning of this year. I'm still a beginner, but I do feel like I've spent the year educating myself, just trying to get comfortable with AI, building my own AI literacy and consistency with the help of Kim. I've done a lot of professional development work, taking courses, really explored with tools. And at this point in my journey, I'm really using AI as an instructional thought partner, kind of like a background teaching assistant, bring all my expertise and my experience to it, but seeing how AI can help my instructional design be better, not replace it, but be better and enhance it. One of the exciting things I did actually through Kim we were exploring with Google Gemini, Google Vids, and I was able to take like a very dry pre-reading assignment, say introducing vocabulary, and turn it into like a movie trailer. So kids were instantly hooked, engaged. You've got it's very multimodal. Kids are seeing all these visuals that happen to be about the rainforest. They could hear the rainforest sounds. They could see the pictures. There was just animation, and it only lasted about a minute. And then I was able to, take over as the teacher and to be able to have a nice, thoughtful discussion with the kids about it. And it was just a hook. It was a spark, and it just drew them in. And then they hit the ground running with the reading. And I feel like they were able to understand the content better. And especially I work with special education students. It was just a great way to differentiate and make the material more accessible for them. So I'm just excited. And it's really only the tip of the iceberg. There's so much in terms of being, helping me with instruction.
Can I ask you, Stephanie, would you have been able to do that by yourself without the help of AI? How easy would that have been?
Right. And I would say that it wasn't exactly, because I'm still exploring. It still took a while because I had to go back and forth. I had to ask the right questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
It would give me some things that it would give me visuals that, I'm like, well, that's not a rainforest creature or whatever. So I had to use a lot of, background knowledge in my own, volleying back and forth with it. But certainly I was able to complete that. I mean, I don't even have the skill set for all the animation and where it could pull from and everything. So that would have taken me hours and hours, where maybe it only took me an hour.
But you
And then
still had to
eventually
use,
a half an hour. Right. Yes.
but you're using skills that you learned in a course that you took, or, to be able to kind
Right.
of build on that.
Sure. I
Plus
will perfect it time.
exactly. Plus your knowledge of curriculum, taking both of those things together. And I think that's the key, right? Is you might have the curriculum knowledge, right? That's what you have the expertise in, but it's that AI knowing what prompts to ask, knowing how to tailor things so that it gives you what you want. The output is
Right.
what you need, right?
Right. And even for middle school learners, some of the pictures of students might have been, they were younger learners. And I said, well, I work with adolescents, so we need to see what's appropriate for adolescents. So then the pictures shifted to, older students engaged in learning. So that it could be more relevant and appropriate developmentally appropriate for my students.
Great. Well, I'm going to shift now from our staff to the lone parent who has joined us. And, again, I appreciate your time that you gave us and dedicated to the task force, but also, for tonight, because I know as a parent, you have kiddos who are not running behind you. So that's exciting.
I had to lock the door.
I feel you. So what can you share? Because I know that we were talking last week and you were very willing to join us, but from the parent's perspective, what did you want to bring up tonight?
I think from the parent perspective, and maybe my perspective is a little biased because I work with computer science, I work with AI, I also teach as a part-time professor. So I've been through a lot of the experiences that everyone has mentioned on this call today, like how it has helped me as a teacher, how it has helped me, how it saved me time, get things done. But also from a parent perspective, there's the concern of our kids being exposed to AI in a way that it's just solving homework for them. Are they aware that they're not supposed to put their personal information in there, their address, their phone number, people's emails and such information like that? Are they aware that they shouldn't be uploading pictures and asking it to make, animations or ways of different, changing that picture from what it is into another picture? So I think all of those are questions that come to my mind as a parent, and especially as a parent of young children, because they don't have the knowledge yet or understanding or maybe responsible use of technology versus the older kids have been exposed to technology and this is just an addition in what they're using versus our younger kids are just going to open their eyes to technology and find this tool right in front of them with everything that it offers. So I think a lot of the questions that go in my mind as a parent and maybe a lot of other parents is, how is this going to be accessible to students? And I know that, with the plan that the task force has put together, it's very assuring that staff are going to get training first before this gets brought to students in any way, because when staff have that training, then they're able to guide the students to use it in a correct way, or maybe say, what they're supposed to use it for, or how they're allowed to use it within the limits of the classroom. And then, towards the end of that process, how do they actually assess what students are submitting? Because I think that is one of the struggles that I face as a teacher, is assessing students' work and seeing the difference in the assignments or projects that they submit, when they're working on it at home versus, their level in tests or quizzes when they don't have use or access to AI tools. So you can't, just accuse someone of using AI to solve their homework for them when you don't have any proof, because there isn't really a way to say, well, this is AI generated or not, especially when it comes to things like English or language, because a lot of non-English speakers who have learned English learn it in such a way that it comes out the same as an AI generated text would. And that's unfair to students to accuse one of using AI when it was really their own work, but also it's unfair to students who do their work themselves to have the same grade as students who used AI to just do the whole thing for them. So I think that's one of the struggles that we're probably still going to need to address after we get more AI literacy in the picture. But it's definitely something that I think a lot of parents are concerned of, including myself.
Does anybody else on the panel want to address those concerns?
I will. I agree with you. I agree. I frequently at the middle school. I used to be a 7 through 12 a principal of a school that was 7 through 12, and I worked in one for about 15 years also. So oftentimes I kind of have secondary be like kind of that up, and we got to get them ready, and it's 24 months, and they're going to be right there. So I don't make much distinction with AI. I'm probably drawing more of a distinction between age levels than I have with other stuff. I mean, we started one-to-one Chromebooks at the middle school and kind of built out from there. So, but I do think they need to develop some like kind of base knowledge. And one of the things you're talking about as far as the work and how do you know and how do you have proof is kind of where I'm getting like, I'm hoping somehow this pushes teachers and students to a return to soft skills where at the culminating activity of any project or assignment is to be able to speak to your work, field questions, present to classmates. These are all skills that got severely stunted during COVID when kids weren't talking, weren't reading facial expressions, and so on. So it's kind of ironic that AI kind of is the next wave after we had to deal with COVID, that I'm hoping somehow this pushes a return to more of those soft skills. But again, having to defend your work, explain your work, field, questions on the fly about your work. And I think that will really give teachers a good check of, did the student really learn this work? Can they speak to it? So, I mean, that's a hope. I don't necessarily have the roadmap for that, but I agree. I do think that there's going to have to be some way to check other than just the work. And it also, um, all through school, no one told me to make a slides presentation or comment on things like that. Those didn't exist. So perhaps the assignments that we give and construct for kids will have some level of being, AI proof. Or so it'll be exciting to see how that evolves. But I agree that is that's the piece. And again, age is very important. I think you have younger children, so I think we're kind of middle school up here on the panel tonight, and I think the principals of our elementary, who are awesome and very tech savvy, extremely tech savvy, to be honest with you, would probably have a much different perspective than myself and the staff members here. So, but I agree. As a parent, I'm agreeing with what you say. And I have a middle schooler myself, so I'm agreeing with a lot of what you said. So I don't know if that was speaking to it or just agreeing with it.
I do want to just jump in for a second, though. I do think that we, as a group, as a school district, need to make sure that we are clear in sharing with families um, how they will know or be aware of if and when teachers do allow their children to utilize AI. I think we need to be clear. One of the things that I just was exposed to was in Google Classroom, there's a really great extension that we can use so that teachers can kind of use our stoplight kind of assignment feature. And then parents could see that in Google Classroom. I'm working with the developer to see, and I mentioned it today with Dr. O'Neill, that perhaps if that was something that could be put into the parent communication, like when the parents get the assignments, it would be amazing if it said right with the assignments, AI is not to be used on this assignment, or, some level, a level 2 or a level 3 AI use is allowed, to align with what our AI assignment scale is. So that's something that I think we just need to do a decent job of notifying families and keeping families informed. Does anyone else on the panel have anything else they would like to add?
I think from a parent perspective, just adding on to what you just said, also extending AI literacy to parents as an opportunity, not just having it limited to staff. Because if you tell them level 3 AI is acceptable,
Mhm.
but they don't know what AI is or they don't know how to use AI,
Mhm.
how are they supposed to assure that, assuming that they're on top of what their kid is doing, how are they supposed to make sure that that's what their kid is actually using? Because their kids who is tech savvy could tell them, well, that's what I did. And if they don't know what AI is, they have
Mhm.
no idea. So I think
Sure.
extending resources, AI resources to parents as well, in addition, like after our staff are, have a level of AI literacy, I think that would be a great next step as well.
Funny that you say that. On the AI Hub, I actually have a resources for families link that does have some information from Common Sense Media and Day of AI. So there's definitely, and I do know, Kim, maybe you could speak to this, that DESE is going to be coming out with some resources specifically geared towards families. Is that accurate?
DESE will be releasing resources. The extent to which it exists beyond school teaching and learning and educators, I'm not entirely certain of. But as you pointed out earlier, the state of Massachusetts has AI literacy, free professional development or just human development available if you Google Massachusetts
You don't need to
AI
Google it. I put it
Hub.
on, it's already on ours. I
It's
put a
on the
direct link. Yeah. I put a direct
perfect.
link to the actual where the governor has the partnership with Google. So it's actually like Gemini training. So,
Yeah,
which
which
is
is
You already
important
use
useful.
because,
that.
yeah,
It's useful
sorry.
because that's what we have in the district. So, and they've signed the Google has signed the data privacy. That's why we use Google. And that would be really useful for, the community, parents and family members to also have that training, because then they could even, the kids would be able to speak the same language.
Yeah. Thank you.
I am not seeing, there was one question that I answered, just I typed it a response. It was just somebody who had asked about, there was resource use at the Yale this past year, and it was students were writing, and it did have some AI. It was Imagine AI. And they had asked if there was a data privacy agreement in place with that company before the students there were using that tool. And we did work with that company, and we did get them to sign a data privacy agreement before they used that tool with the students. If anyone knows me, I am very adamant about making sure that those agreements are in place and signed before students use a tool. So if you went on to again, the AI Hub, it has a list of the resources. And I believe Imagine AI is there listed under our approved tools. So if you have any other questions, I'm not seeing any. I said that this would be about 45 minutes, and we are just about under the wire here at 7:14. This will be shared on the website. I'll probably put it on in the AI the hub. I do appreciate everyone again your time tonight. We're learning together here, folks. So we're gonna do the best that we can to support each other. We're doing the best that we can to support our staff members and our families and our students in kind of navigating this new era of AI. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us, whether it be Brian, myself, your school's principals, such as, Mr. Hayward, or your child's teachers. But again, thank you for your time. And I appreciate all of the panelists who joined tonight. And if you are interested in perhaps joining the AI task force for next year, because this is ongoing work, people, we could use all the help. Anybody who's willing, please feel free to reach out. Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.